Let me start this
You're
way.
welcome.
Why is there ethnic distrust among ethnic nationalities in Nigeria?
Well, incidentally, it's a serious matter when it comes to talking about the nation today. No better time than this for us to begin to retrace our footsteps, our steps backwards, and look at these issues. Especially with ethnic nationalities. Amongst us, there's distrust. Why is it so? Now, there are a number of reasons that you can adduce to that. Number one, our historical perspectives. For instance, the amalgamation, the lumping, for instance, of the Nigerian system, you lump by the British, lumping everybody together without recourse to culture and geography. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is simply because the minority, as it is, they dominate. I mean, a minority, yes, a minority, like in Nigeria, where you have about 213 million people, and then what you have is a particular group, ethnic nationality, has just 6%. That's about, let's say, about 6 million, and they have found their way into power, and over again, they lord it over the other percentage. So if you look at the Yorubas, let's assume the Yorubas, the Hausas, they have about maybe 65 million, and then the Yorubas have about maybe 40, 50 million, and then the Igbos have about 30 million. Now, if you take the progression, you will find out that a particular set have taken more time, in power, ruling, and having it to themselves for so long. Now, that one, as it is, has created distrust, because the people who are the minority, they feel the pinch because of power imbalance, because of resource control, because of the cultural differences between us, and because of age-long conflict. All of this, pre-colonial conflicts, all of this attribute to the distrust, especially that of the fact that the minorities seem to be dominating the other parts of us, marginalizing it and making it look as if they are the minority. So that is where we stand now.
Okay, but when you look at Nigeria, maybe even right from the word go, it appears that some ethnic nationalities have dominated or subsumed others. Is that the making
Yes.
of anyone, or you want to blame the colonialists for that?
Yes, I'll blame the colonialists for that, because they virtually seem to have handed power over to a particular ethnic group, and who have actually progressed in that, seeming gift or assignment. So if you look at it, if you look at the Nigerian history, you find out that particular ethnic group had been dominant.
But isn't it a case of number? Isn't it a case of, the ethnic nationalities with the highest number? Or is it a case of Nigeria having sub-ethnic group? Because, for instance, if you talk about the Yorubas, you can then be talking about the Ijeshas, the Ijebus, the Aworis, the Egbas. But all of them, when you want to group them, you call them Yorubas. But they are different,
Yes.
even culturally, in terms of belief, irrespective of, proximity.
Yes. No, the issue here is we cannot take, in this context, we cannot take the very smaller ethnic nationalities into play. We are looking at, in the Nigerian context, we are looking at the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausa, and then the Fulanis. But we look at it from the angle of the Hausa Fulani. Now, this system has seemed to have failed, because even in the present structure, as we view it by way of nationalities, we still have a problem where the most minority amongst these accepted ethnic nationalities, as it were, they still dominate the others, let alone the eventual sum total of the Nigerian system. Now, what am I trying to say? All I'm saying to you is this. We have the Igbos, the Fulanis. I mean, we have the Hausa, which was initially termed Hausa Fulani together, which is now being broken down to only Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbos. Now, we needed to structure it that way, as it were. It didn't mean, or it doesn't mean that there are no other smaller nationalities. Those smaller nationalities, they are being segregated is also what is causing another agitation. But in all of these, what we are looking at is this. Look, when we mesh these three together and put them side by side, one particular ethnic nationality has been dominating the totality of the Nigerian system, or the Nigerian system for a while. Now, we may now come down and begin to break it down into other smaller nationalities, because you see, in the area of smaller nationalities, there's been a serious problem of marginalization, serious problem of exclusivity or exclusiveness, within the corridors of the workings of the Nigerian state. So that's where we are now.
Okay, these ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, do they even have any place in the polity? Are they recognized? What is their place? The ethnic nationalities in Nigeria, whether the minor, the minor ones, or even the major ethnic nationalities, is there any place for them in Nigeria?
It's a pathetic story, my brother. These smaller nationalities, there is no place for them. There's no place for them. There's no place for them, because within the system of dominance has been able to create another system of avoidance, another system of exclusivity towards these nationalities, by way of they have no economic opportunities, they have no educational opportunities, nothing good comes to them. They cannot even partake and participate adequately in the political process because of the segregation and marginalization of these smaller nationalities. And this is where the problem is. And that's why you are having agitations that will not stop. These agitations will continue in the Nigerian state until there is a sitting down, until something else happens that has to bring recognition and readdress the situation and the pain of these smaller ethnic nationalities.
Okay. Let's look at the place of restructuring in all of this. For some time, some Nigerians have expressed divergent views and opinions on this particular subject matter. But what do you think restructuring will do in all of this?
There is a place for restructuring. Restructuring means, yes, there's a system already in place. There's a structure already in place. We are not discarding it. We want to restructure it, take away the ones that is causing us pain and backwardness. And then with contemporary dynamics of society, we bring in the ideas and justice and fairness and fair play that will incorporate the entire nationalities. Now, at that point, that is where restructuring comes. Now, when you want to restructure, when we look at restructuring from that perspective, we'll look at the fact that there is power at the center. The power at the center is too enormous that we need to break it down. Because when a particular ethnic nationality takes over power at the center, it subjects the others to marginalization. So, and when we break this down, we break the power at the center down in the restructuring process, and I know we're going to come to that, and make it a regional process, for instance, what you get is fine. Agitations are lowered. Agitations are brought low. The fear of distrust will not be there. People of different nationalities will find a sense of belonging in that contemporary new arrangement and have a sense of nationalism, which we don't have anymore now. There is no nationalism, as it were, within the Nigerian peoples. There's nothing like that. And that's why we have this unity, and we are struggling, and we're working hard to ensure that we are one. But within the periphery of looking, or the crevices of looking for oneness, we must understand that we need to restructure ourselves, restructure our government, restructure our constitution, restructure everything that concerns us, and bring everybody together and avoid as much as we can agitations by ethnic nationalities.
So the question is, who is going to restructure Nigeria? Who? It is whose responsibility to get this country restructured?
We have started restructuring. You are talking to me now. Yeah, you are talking to me now, right? We are discussing it. We need to make people understand where we are. We need to move people in a manner where we'll galvanize the people to understand that, hey, look, we can work this out. I understand that, and I know that the National Assembly, the State House of the two arms, they are vitally important to this. The presidency is vitally important to this. The Nigerian peoples are vitally important to it. So as we begin to talk like you are doing now, at the end of the day, we'll bring everybody together. You are talking now. The government is listening. The National Assembly is listening. And so when we come together and form a team, the issue of restructuring has been on for a long time. So government is not saying they are unaware of it. The reason why they are not, some of them, they are not like wanting to give into it right away is because some people are benefiting from the present structure. So, but be that as it may, we will keep making the noise we can make it on radio and TV, make it on the pages of the newspaper, write to the Senate, write to the House of Reps. We'll keep doing that. But from what I'm seeing, I know that, from the body language of some of the things that is coming up and the ideas, restructuring will not be far. Very soon we will get there.
Okay, so what format will restructuring take in Nigeria? Because that's one of the issues on the table in Nigeria as we speak presently. What format will it take? The president sending an executive order, or it's a case of the National Assembly swinging into action? I hope you are aware that both chambers of the National Assembly are presently trying to rework the 1999 Constitution. Is that restructuring? Some persons have argued that fiscal restructuring is here with the tax reform bills. Many of the moves of Mr. President, some persons have attributed it to, subtle way of restructuring. Do you agree? What format should this restructuring take?
I agree. That's why I said what we're experiencing today, it gives me the feeling and the knowing that restructuring is very close. The tax reform bill is a clear indication. I have not written off this present administration in the area of restructuring, because it seems to me that it is trying to create the necessary balance to make Nigeria actually one. So the restructuring has actually started. Okay. If I understand you correctly, please.
Okay, so restructuring has actually started. But some persons are saying all of these piecemeal approach will not solve the problem, that the problems are so enormous that piecemeal approach to this issue of restructuring will go nowhere.
But we don't know the mind of the person that did the tax reform. We don't know whether the next move of the person that did that originated in the tax reform. Justice must be served. Justice must be seen to have been done. We all have our places in the place of history. If the president, Bola Tinubu, wants to make history and make Nigeria a better place and bring justice and fair play, he will do it. Other people have come, they didn't do it. You are correct. It's like piecemeal, but you have to start from somewhere. What is left? Well, we now have the tax reform, and it has adjudicated and brought justice and fairness and fair play. We are on the move to restructuring. All we are saying is we pray that the present system or the present president will be kind enough to lead us through the past because he has the power of lobby. He has the power of the presidency. And so he can lead Nigeria to the path of stardom in the area of restructuring because that's why we are not united. Because I feel bad when one nationality is dominating my own ethnic nationality. I feel terrible that in my area where I produce the oil, within the interior of the hinterland of my area, where Nigeria survives, via which Nigeria survives, nothing is happening there. So how do you look at it? So we need justice and balance in the system.
Okay, so talking about that, what happens to 13% derivation that is being given to these oil-producing states? Has that been accounted for? Has it been used judiciously? Is it a case of the federal government not doing the needful or mismanagement among the subnationals that are getting this fund?
Okay. Now, even where we say the federal government is taking too much, it may not be seen as too much because of the system that we operate. Okay. Now, the point that I'm trying to make is this: we cannot blame the federal government. Monies accruable were given to them. It is within the purview of the governors of those states and the nationalities, which are usually represented by the elite class. And so they are the people that have the problem, not the government, not the federal government. The federal government gives you your accruable earnings. How have you used it? But sincerely, when you ask me that, I don't think they have accounted by way of projects concerning the monies that they have been given for so long.
If Nigeria is to be restructured today, what are your recommendations?
Well, my recommendations is, we go into regionalism, which is obvious. We can break into 8 regions. I believe that breaking into 8 regions, will create a balance. The way it is constituted now is not balanced. So if we go back to regionalism, where we take power from the center and let every region constitute their own executive, and then the center, the power remains there, and then just it's like an overseer, then that's fine. So I believe in regionalism, and I believe that we can break into 8 regions, and that will give us more development and inclusivity within the system that will derail us and remove us from the agitations that we are experiencing today.
There are presently 6 regions. Do you intend to dismantle the existing 6 regions, or it's a case of inflecting it by adding 2 others?
My thinking, my position is 2 more should be added. 2. And I hold this view. If you don't mind, I digress a little. Right. I hold this view, sir, because many years ago, I saw Nigeria, by way of regionalism, break into 8 places. So when I began to hear that in the new framework that is within the works, that they are looking at 8 regions, I felt good with it. At least that will bring fairness. And I look forward to that happening. When it happened, it was without a fight, it was without rancor, it was without enmity. It was just beautiful, a beautiful announcement, and everybody gathered together, and it was announced that 8 regions. Nigeria had been broken down into 8 regions. I look forward to that.
8 regions. There are people that are clamoring for parliamentary system of government, saying, oh, the presidential system of government is rather too expensive. You don't have any issues with which system of government Nigeria adopts. It is regionalism that you are concerned with, is it?
Yes. I'm not concerned about, even within the framework of the Constitution, that we are saying that it's not a document that was generally, if we go back to the 1963 Constitution, we wouldn't have been having most of these agitations. So Nigeria as it stands, and the quest for restructuring, is not as if the present system is totally bad. No. All we are saying is inject fairness into it based on contemporary day dynamics. Once we get that going, Nigeria is okay.
You are a cleric. In all of these narrative, agitations, clamor, don't you think that the pulpits or religious fathers have critical roles to play?
Yes, sir. The religious fathers, religious men of different faith, they have a lot to do. They have to act as intermediaries between the government and the people. They must learn to tell the truth when the government is going wrong or with policies that are anti-people. They should be able to speak up. And when there are ethnic clashes or different ethnic nationalities are having issues of clashes and distrust and conflicts, they ought to come in, and assist the government in trying to create a balance and peace. They are vitally important to the system. But you see, the way we are now and the way we are configured by way of religion and the people we look up to, there's a huge lacuna in contemporary day men of God, vis-a-vis the other times that came before us. Because right now, everyone is after his own. Everyone is after power, fame, and money within the corridors of religion. Now, that has endangered the entire system and the way and manner and the modus operandi via which men of God ought to work in consonance with government. The government needs them. The people need them. But whether they are working accordingly to achieving results is a different matter.
But
otherwise, it's important for them.
Bishop, when a cleric
Yes, sir.
is rather too close to the government, such a cleric will be, heavily criticized.
Yes.
Recall that there was an Islamic cleric that was close to the government during the tenure of Muhammadu Buhari in the northern part of this country. At some point in time, he reportedly went into the forest in Zamfara state to negotiate with bandits and all that. At the end of the day, many Nigerians criticized him heavily. And so you begin to think that it's a taboo, sort of, for the men of God in Nigeria, irrespective of creed, to be close to the government. But yet you said that the government needs these ones.
Okay, you are correct. It's unfortunate that Nigerians feel that way, but Nigerians are human. Nigerians are also human. Government is always interfacing with religious bodies, with clerics, pastors, bishops. The reason government does that basically ought to have been, and I think is, because of their role as intermediaries. The man that was doing that job on behalf of government and the Nigerian people, some Nigerians didn't appreciate him. They didn't appreciate him. That's the Nigerian factor, the Nigerian system. Even at one time, the government, again, like you are saying, was even against him. So this is where we are. There's so much confusion, there's so much distrust.
Okay.
This is exactly what is happening.
Let me take you to the north. What is happening? We are looking at managing interethnic distrust in Nigeria. No doubt you have established the fact that this distrust is well pronounced. But I'm going to, cite examples of happenings in Plateau and Benue State. As we speak, do you call the massacre, the bloodletting, the killings going on in Benue State, in Plateau? I don't want to generalize it by saying the North Central. Do you attribute that or those killings or that development to interethnic distrust? I mean, the killings, who are the ones killing these ones?
Well, it's unfortunate and it's sad, the bloodletting in those areas you talked about. And it's been going on for a while. It has a historical connotation, a historical background.
What history is behind it?
It's the same issue of distrust, the same issue of ethnicity. Are you following me? The same issue of land grabbing from what we know or what we've studied and researched. Okay, now the issue here is the people involved, they have a historical legacy. This historical legacy is what's causing the problem. It's not like in Nigeria, there's still historical legacy, like we talked about, historical legacy, and that has created problem. The Biafran Civil War is still a problem today because of the historical aspect of it. So in a nutshell, it's sad that is happening in those two states, and it seems like the government is the hands of the government are tied. But most of the time, will you call it that this is happening via the national the ethnic nationalities in conflict within Nigerian states, or their influx from somewhere else? Because if you look at the typology the dynamics via which these killings are taking place, you discover that the boundaries around the north there, where are the people coming from? The conflict just don't come from people within the eventual area. They are like bandits coming from outside the border and coming for vendetta based on historical perspective. That's what's going on, I think, and I know.
Okay, thank you so much. So if you look at Northeast, you look at states like Adamawa and of course Borno State.
Yes. Borno, Yobe.
There have been killings there. According to former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, as at year 2018-2019, over 21,000 people have been killed and millions of people have been displaced. Now let's assume that is what is happening in the North Central. It has historical dimensions, so you said. Yes. What is happening in those areas, the northeastern part of this country?
The North, the way it is presently conscripted, the way it stands, is not, no part of the North is not liable to what is happening from the other side, from any other. It's a stretch, and it's spreading. It's spreading. In Kaduna, you have killings taking place. At one time or the other, you had even in Kano. So it's not, the North is in a precarious situation. Whether it's Northeast, Northwest, North Central, it's a precarious time for the North. And we all have to come together to support them and help them out of this quagmire. It is not funny at all. The bloodletting is too much.
Bishop, how would you place the fact that during electioneering period, there is usually peace? Inter-ethnic distrust will not prevent from one ethnic nationality or some ethnic nationalities in certain regions from voting massively, for another person who is from another, ethnic group. I give you an instance. It was said that vote-wise, the Yorubas did not wholeheartedly support the cause of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is today the president, but the North voted overwhelmingly for him. And yet, you talk about the fact that there is inter-ethnic, distrust between the North and the Yoruba race. How do you place that?
The dynamics are different. You see, whatever is happening, whether we like it or not, we look at the Northerners. They are champions in politics. They are champions in mobilizing their people. They are champions in standing for their people.
And the South.
Bola Tinubu, down the South. Down the South. You cannot see, like I said, the North is the champion of politics in Nigeria. While it was difficult for Bola Tinubu to be able to galvanize these people In the north is different. The dynamics is different. They don't tell the people we have decided, because they have a system where there's so much respect for their groups, or those they seem to be their authority. They look onto them with so much respect. Whatever they say is what they follow. But here, down the south, we all are so ideologically different. In the north, it's not so. In the process, we discard tribalism. We discard tribalism.
All right, Bishop, kindly hold your thoughts. We'll go on a commercial break. The nation today retains shortly. Please hold your thoughts. We'll be back.
There is educational revolution going on at the moment. It is all about raising young children who will become a game changer and impact is our word positively. It is all happening at Ighodalo Academy. Our vision is to raise boys and girls with the fear of God, raise the standard of service, integrity, and leadership in our society. From the teachers to the classroom, library, biology and physics laboratory, ICT centers, playground, refectory, music lab, hostel, and the general environment. Ighodalo Academy is positioned to offer excellence and good character your child deserves. Ighodalo Academy Day and Boarding is located at Ighodalo Bus Stop, Wakajayi Road, Iyano Church, Ibadan, Oyo State. Our telephone number is 005-527-5583 or 006-769-4955. For more inquiries, our email is ighodaloacademy@gmail.com. Our website is www.ighodaloacademy.org.
Ighodalo Academy, developing character, competence, and confidence.
You're welcome back, everyone. It's The Nation Today here on Impact Television, IATV. On The Nation Today, we are looking at managing inter-ethnic distrust. My guest, Bishop Joseph Ighodalo, has established the fact that there is distrust among ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. And of course, he has spoken on so many issues. Bishop, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, what do you think is the solution to all of this?
Well, the solution to this is that we should decentralize power. We should decentralize power. When we decentralize power, then we give autonomy to the regions, and make them closer to the people. And then within the periphery and the crevices of that, we should be able to ensure that we enshrine, in a document, the entirety, as it were, the will, the benefits, the accruable nationalistic benefits of minority groups, so that they can have a sense of belonging. When we don't have a sense of belonging, then there's no unity. When there's no unity, there's no development. We need to talk about resource control. The agitations we present today is because there's a problem with there's a problem with restructuring. That's why we have the agitations for resource control. All of this, when we decentralize power and then we create new avenues to create balance and justice and fair play within the players, then they'll be fine. There'll be no problem. Nigeria will be settled and there'll be no agitations.
All right. Bishop, you earlier on said that you recommended 8 regions, right? I hope I'm right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you suggested that 2 other regions be created, in addition to the existing 6. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So, for the benefit of doubt, you want to give us, the template, which ones are
Let me
new,
run it down.
and with the headquarters of the existing 6 remain where they are, they are presently, or you think the present structure should be tinkered with?
Well, the first thing first is let us agree first, or let us know that we are doing 8 regions. The other ones are details. But at least if we have the Northwest, we have the Northeast, we have the North Central, we have the Southwest, we have the Southeast, we have the South-South, we have the Middle Belt, we have the Niger Delta. This is just a framework. Now, if we have all of that, and we already have an existing 6, now it depends on the National Assembly to now know the details of how to break that down. For us, we are looking at, let us create a balance with 8 regions.
All right. So, the Middle Belt, and of course, the which other one is new? The Middle Belt is new from what you said, and of course, the Niger Delta. Thank you. Let's get some reactions in case you want to be part of the program. You're watching this program from anywhere across the world. You can join the conversation shortly. The number to call will be displayed on your television screen. Once it is displayed, you can be part of this program. But I'm going to appeal that before calling in, endeavor to turn down the volume of your television set so that we can have a conversation. The number will be displayed on your television screen shortly. Call in and let us know what your take is on the program this evening. Bishop Joe Ighodalo is my guest on the the nation today. Let's have your view. You can be part of the program. We're looking at managing inter-ethnic distrust in Nigeria. Do you agree with the man of God, with the cleric, or you disagree? But of course, whichever position you may take, we need an explanation. Thank you so much, Bishop, for your time on the program. Now, amidst this agitation, advice, counsel being given to the federal government, some persons are already, again, looking towards 2027, as if that is going to solve their problem. Not many persons are bothered about this faulty structure that some of you are clamoring must be reworked for the betterment of this nation. Are you worried about that development?
It's so sad. Like I told you, some people are benefiting from the present structure, creating a lot of marginalization and pain, and agitations. They are benefiting from it. Otherwise, why would they be thinking about 2027? Okay, you need to think about Nigeria first. We must all begin to learn to put Nigeria first. If we put Nigeria first, then we won't be thinking about the election yet. We'll be thinking about how to structure Nigeria in such a manner that, yes, this will reign, there will be justice and fair play, fairness. But it is not so. It is not so.
All right. What's your recommendation? What's your suggestion about, this forthcoming presidential or general election, as it were? If you have your option, which will you go for?
Please, can you say that again? I didn't quite hear you.
Hello, Bishop. Can you hear me? Okay. So
yes,
we have a caller here. Let's pick this call. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Okay, kindly call us back on the program 0907 072 980. That is the number that leads to the studio here. Hello, good evening. Oh, okay. Kindly call us back on the program 0907 072 0980. That is the number to call to be part of the program. Hello, good evening. Okay, The last caller is still on. Kindly call back on the program this evening. And you can also be part of the program by sending a text message. You can send a text message. Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay. Now this is it. I want to appeal to you. Let's have a conversation. Once you pick your call, once I pick your call, go straight, tell us your name and where you are calling from. But before you do that, turn down the volume of your television set. You can't be talking to us here and still want to hear yourself. It's not going to work like that. 0907 072 0980. That is the number to call to be part of the program. Managing inter-ethnic distrust in Nigeria. What is the solution? Bishop Joe Ighodalo, my guest on the program, have made so many suggestions. He has, proffered solutions. He has offered suggestions. What is your take? Colin, and let's get to hear from you on the program this evening. So, Bishop, I asked you that if you have options, what would you do with the 2027 general elections? Unfortunately, some persons are preparing. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Thank you so much.
My name is Weekend I'm so much happy about this our elderly development.
Okay, Ikenna, you are calling from where?
From Enugu State, sir.
Ikenna from Enugu. Okay, go ahead. You said you are happy with the submission of...
Yeah, because that's what we are expecting for a very long time. If you forget about... I'm calling from Enugu State. Yeah. Yes, I'm very, very happy. I'm very much happy because that's what we are expecting for a very long time. For a very long time, we are expecting that. So, if the president will leave about the 2027 presidential issue, let's talk about the structure. Make every state manage what it has, and then the city don't do more. But all this agitation, that practice, that all this, just because of that. If everybody the money to make that all these things will happen like that, we need to peace. The one person will tell the feeling which can fire, they don't say federal, and now I be sure by Nigeria. So when they respect the country, I will support. We are in support of that.
All right. Ikenna from Enugu. Thank you so much for your time on the program. Ikenna from Enugu said he is in support of restructuring. He suggested that everybody should, take a pause in talking about 2027 presidential election. But of course, some persons are preparing in earnest for that election. Bishop, unfortunately, there is no law that prevents preparation from taking place. Hello, good evening.
Yes, hello.
Good evening.
How are you?
I am fine, and you too?
I'm calling from
From where? You are calling from where? Oh, I didn't get the name of the state you are calling from.
Okay, I want to...
Which state are you calling from, please? Hello, are you there? Okay, let me explain once again. If you're going to call in here, once I pick your call, it is important for you to move away from your television. If not, the noise from your end, the background noise, will not allow us to have a conversation. Unfortunately, I didn't get the name of the state that my last caller, made the call from. You can be part of this program. How can inter-ethnic distrust in Nigeria be managed? That is what we are looking at on the program this evening. The belief is that there is inter-ethnic distrust in Nigeria. Can it be managed? What do you think the solution is? 0907 072 0980. That is the number to call to be part of the program. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, I'm calling from Anambra State.
Okay, you are calling from Anambra State.
Yes.
What is your name from Anambra? Okay, Mr. Okafor from Anambra State. Go ahead.
Yes. My concern is this. Yes. My concern is this. If I want the opinion of the demonstration, yes. I think it's but I want to say that the policy in this station, I got the relationship to help us. The policy, there is control of the season.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Okafor, for your time on the program. Bishop, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir.
Okay, Bishop, Mr. Okafor is saying that the first thing that should be worked on is equality. Don't forget that Southeast has 5 states, other regions have 6 states. The Northwest has the highest 7. He is saying that first what should be done is that all the regions should have equal number of states before we begin to talk of having 8 regions.
Well, there's nothing wrong with settling the matter once and for all by way of having 8 regions. But the truth of the matter is, yes, it's correct. There's a great disparity. And like I told you, the injustice and the unfairness is enormous. You don't do that. We need to find a way. I am of the opinion that while we are restructuring to the point of 8 regions, we would have created a balance already. The way it stands now, yes, it is unfair. But instead of saying, let us readdress that first, why don't you just address all of them once and for all? That's my position. But he is right, because the level of, like I said, inequality is very high.
All right. Thank you so much, Bishop Joe Ighodalo, for your time on the program. It's been wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much. As we go, what will your parting shot be?
What my parting shot will be is that I see a great avalanche of change coming to Nigeria. We should just be patient. We should be agitative, non-violently agitative. Let us keep talking. I see the light of restructuring at the tunnel. Any moment from now, we shall begin to get the gains of it. And I ask all Nigerians to be one and the oneness of our nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bishop Dr. Joseph Ighodalo. He is a cleric. Thank you once again for coming on The Nation today.
Thank you so much.
All right, this is where we're going to call it a wrap. Sincere appreciation to those who have been part of the program, to those who tried to call in. Sincere apologies. Next week, Friday, The Nation Today returns on Impact Television. Get prepared to be part of the program. We've looked at managing inter-ethnic distrust in Nigeria. It is our expectation that the suggestions made on the program today will be put to use by all, including the government. Hamanu Luakpo or Monday. Thank you so much for watching. Good evening.